YouTube, this is the police.
Usually, before I go shaking my tits for the press, I like to go see how the professionals do it. Some might say the chief of police has no business in an institution like this, but in fact it's the quietest and safest place in town. You won't run into any reporters, nobody gets into any fights, nobody drinks too much, nobody even raises their voice. The place is owned by an elderly gentleman who knows how to keep things under control. That's why I never invite my friends here.
So as you can see,
I wanted to make an
this is
exception
our
for my
main
60th birthday, but most of my colleagues are young enough to be my sons, and they'd rather just hire prostitutes. Why stare at some boobs when you can take the whole package for yourself?
Bar.
But there's none of that in our club. Even looking too long is considered indecent. You can get an occasional glimpse, like by accident. The rest of the time you just pretend that you're immersed in conversation, or just come by for a drink. Doesn't mean these gentlemen wouldn't want their bald heads smothered in tits. It's just that nobody says it out loud. My younger colleagues might call it hypocrisy, but I call it the good old-fashioned manners. Good manners and leave the rest unsaid. She agrees to unbutton her blouse, and we agree not to pay too much attention. The girls are on a quiet prowl, too. They're looking for a way out of their cramped rooms. Maybe make friends with some wealthy patron with a pacemaker and dentures. Everybody wants something. But we have to control ourselves, or we'll all turn into libertines and prostitutes. Hell, if there weren't any rules, I'd be belching and farting, jumping up on the table, arms held high, yelling, "Shake it, baby!" No idea how I got so barbaric.
So this stream will be put into the playlist of KHG Plays Live, because not everybody can catch live streams, but you can get to see after the fact if you're into that. So this is a solo stream, this is just me for this one, because the time here in the UK is 1:36 AM. Just a quick check of the options, nothing needs moving, I don't think there. Okay, so I'll let the game run through as it's intended, and I'll jump in at points and just go over what we can see. I'll go new game because I ruined my original game, to be honest. I think I got killed actually. I just woke up in the morning and got domed in the back of the head. Nothing says game over like being killed. So here we go.
When I was a kid, my father sometimes told me at bedtime that if I closed my eyes and didn't open them for a long time, all the demons would blow away. Yesterday I turned 60, but I still take his advice. Not because I'm sentimental or want to keep the memory of my father alive. I just can't think of a better solution. To get away from all the demons that haunt Freeburg, I'd need to wear a blindfold 24/7. Plus, it's a good idea to act blind when talking to reporters. At least that's what my colleagues say. They're afraid of press conferences. But for me, It's more like a confessional. No matter what lies you tell, you're privately thinking the honest answers. It helps me remember who I am. The fact that I'll be reading all about it in the papers tomorrow is a small price to pay. Call it penance for the preacher. This is the first time I'm afraid of those answers my mind has given me. Not because I'm mad I'm losing my job. Though it's true, I'm mad as hell. Not because I subconsciously blame everyone else. Though I damn sure do blame them. And don't even ask me what my next move is. I can't imagine. But even that doesn't scare me. The worst thing is, I know I'm gonna have to do something. I'll be damned if I know how far I'll go. I may have a lot of vices, but predictability isn't one of them. I learned a long time ago how to drive away the swarming demons. But what do you do when they're trying to rip your soul from your skin? Shutting my eyes tight as I can. The best solution remains the same. Play blind. I just hope the reporters think I was blinded by the camera flash.
Okay, so this is the first bit of interactive gameplay where we answer questions from the press. And you have to assume the answers from what you've heard of the inner monologue of the main character, Frank. So as you can see, it says yesterday the mayor's office officially announced your resignation. Did this come as a surprise, or did I know in advance? Now he did say in his mind that he knew it was coming. So I'll be political and say the mayor discussed it. And there you can see the response. Mayor Rogers told me that he wants a fresh face running Freeburg PD, so no, it didn't come as a surprise. The next question comes in, do you already know the name of your successor? Usually I go for the answer about the veteran, but I think in the situation he's in, he just wouldn't know because it was thrown on him in the background. So we'll go no this time. There you see the answer. Maybe the mayor doesn't know who it is either. So, after the recent corruption scandal, your deputy, Francis Kendrick, said he was looking forward to resigning. If the mayor offered him your position, would that change his mind? Now, I happen to know a small amount of the story, but being situational, I would say if he claimed to be happy about retiring or resigning rather, then being a friend, the answer would be no way. In case people are interested, this is not the core gameplay. You don't just click answers to questions. The core gameplay comes very soon. So the guy was basically corrupt but acquitted, and the saying, was he in bed with the mafia basically? You know, you can read it yourselves if you wish. This is a paraphrasing. Do I agree or do I back him by saying it's crap? So I will say it's bullshit. I'm backing up my old boy. I think we all know in our heart the guy that was accused was probably bent. But you know, you try and back up your fellow professionals. Do I think the personal relationship with the mayor could be the reason behind the retirement of me, the character? If he's been diplomatic, you'd say definitely not, so we'll go the diplomatic route for now. And there's your answer. Mayor Rogers is a true professional, brackets asshole, and makes his decisions carefully. There is no place in our jobs for hard feelings, or following protocol, or doing your job properly, or not taking a backhanded payoff. Sarcasm.
How's the back today, Mr. Boyd?
Same as usual.
How did the press conference go?
You can read about it in the newspapers tomorrow. Don't let anyone in.
Even Mr. Kendrick?
Especially Mr. Kendrick. As soon as I heard the door creak, I knew what face I'd see. When I tell Emma not to let anyone in, there's only one man it could be. Rude, arrogant, no warning. That's Mayor Rogers in a nutshell. White summer shoes, white socks, white shorts, white polo shirt, and the white smile of a hungry shark. Mayor Rogers enters every room like he owns the place. Even the floorboards under his feet sound like they're creaking an apology. He never shied away from the odd corruption scheme. It's like the devil walks behind him. In the movies, the villains controlling the city play golf with the judges. Rogers plays tennis with them instead.
So as you can see, he has a really high opinion of Mayor Rogers.
I was hoping to catch you after the press conference. You ran away so quick.
There's no smoking at City Hall.
I said before, this is a very light, relaxed stream.
This morning I signed a ban on smoking in all public buildings. Soon you won't be able to smoke here either.
Soon enough I won't be here at all.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. The people of this city like you, Jack. The police chief of all people. Don't betray that, Jack. Don't get wrapped up in any schemes.
He's starting to dig in the knife, some people might say.
80 days, and you'll be remembered as a hero. That's the only thing that you still have left. Be the hero.
You know, keep on the good side, go into the night quietly, don't cause a fuss.
To secure a luxury pension, one that even I would have envied, although I've never set aside any money for myself. I'm not planning to retire anytime soon.
So what's the odds we mess everything up and the whole area of Freeburg goes to
180 days of quiet, Jack. That's all I need. I don't have any problems with you, and you won't have any problems with me. I have a new assistant, Troy Starr. If you have something to tell me, call him. But try not to bother him. He's a busy man.
I'll do my best.
And quit smoking up the office. One of my friends will be using it soon.
Oh, I'm sorry, babe. Only the mayor has this number. Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
This is the game,
Yes?
it's implied.
Go fuck yourself, Troy
Well,
Starr.
of course you can see what's implied, but it's crude art style. So, I'm not at fault for that. And this is where the gameplay loop properly kicks in. It's relaxed and somewhat methodic. You have a certain
Cops
groups
don't
of
use the police station cafeteria
police
anymore.
staff
There's
each
some
day,
kind of
and you
stigma
pick
against
each
sitting
one
shoulder to
you
shoulder
want to
with your
work
partners.
each day. The
Everybody
highest
just takes
number
snacks from the
next to the
machines or grabs a
officer's
meal and
names
hammers
is
it down in the corner like a vulture on a
like an
corpse.
indication of how
The
skilled
main
they
thing,
are at doing what you
don't
ask
look
them
into
to do.
anyone's eyes. Could be construed as an
So
invitation
on
to sit
occasion you
together.
do end up with some
The only people
poorly
eating
trained
here are
recruits.
ghosts. My deputy, Francis Kendrick. He recently became one of those ghosts. The subject of one of the most devastating corruption scandals in the history of Freeburg.
And this is his work
No
best
evidence to
friend
support the
who was
accusations, but everyone
accused of
knows
being
Kendrick's
in with
days
the
are
mob.
numbered. I need that file I asked for. Needs to be ready tonight. Francis didn't say anything, but I understood.
How about we
Ghosts
find out
aren't
together
supposed to
if it's
talk.
true?
Besides, I got a feeling he was already finished.
So basically here you go, press the top, that's the tutorial, press the button, you tell the game to screw itself and do it yourself. But for a reminder for me and new people to the TITP series, I will do the tutorial, if anything just to remind me. So as you can see, but I will read just for clarity, it says Freeburg PD organises upcoming work assignments into day shifts called Shift A and B, as you'll see, and the days rotate of course. Every shift and officers respond to crimes in progress, and you have officers and detectives you can put on investigations. As you'll see as time goes on, I try not to repeat myself too often. I just throw in the occasional comment or see what goes on. Now this particular bit is important because as you can see with the this small characteristics tutorial, his life energy is on the side, the top there where your insignias are, that's your promotions. The skill of the officer is the number, although the tutorial isn't showing that at the moment, it's showing the energy. The bars on the right hand side. And hidden characteristics are usually given away, even though they are hidden, they're somewhat given away by icons. Like this officer might have a drinking problem or under the influence of drink, so you have to be careful what jobs you put him on, because if he makes a mistake he could end up dead, or civilians can end up dead from him making a mistake. So these are the beat officers in blue. The brown ones are detectives that do separate investigations that will come up as the gameplay unfolds. So here we go. Like I say, it's not taxing gameplay, it's more gameplay management, but the skill and fun comes from making mistakes and fixing your mistakes. So once again, I'll read through for clarity. It says responding to calls is the bread and butter of police work. You'll need to send your officers to the crime scenes before the time expires. You're given a timer on each emergency call to pick your available staff to send. A mark on the map shows where the call came from. The further away, the longer it will take until you can use the same officers again. They become free to use again once they've finished up the original call, which is basically what it says at the bottom of the text there. So here we go, you knock the L2, you press X. The nature of the crime is in the top right corner. To be honest, usually I ignore that. If it looks like a serious thing, then you put your highest numbered staff onto it. This is a hit and run, so as our example, I'll put in the strongest 2 and then press triangle. They're sent off to the call. And you wait for the next call. Here it is again. It's a simple fight according to the game. Secondary top 2, send them to the call. Now while they're off doing the calls, you'll see their pictures fill up and empty shadows that's travelling to the call, doing the call, and then afterwards when they're finished, you press the skip to see what happens. They did their job fine, nobody was damaged, their officer skill raises. And when they return from travel, which you can see on the bottom left corner, they will become available for another call that comes in. Once again, unaffected while an officer's stats go up.
910C in progress.
But it does get chaotic quickly, so the highest 2 left available I'll send because the other 2 are busy. Luckily, the strongest 2 become available just in time. I didn't want that lady, she's very weak. Later in the game you do get the option to train up your weaker staff through cash, but it comes out of your personal secret pension fund. That's what the $2,400 is. It's like a secret pension fund. Give the old lady some experience because she's backed up. See, now they've gone to the call and they're having a problem. So you read the text. The vehicle in question is parked outside the residence. The sounds of moaning and laughter can be heard through the living room window. Do you sneak through the window? Do you loudspeaker, or do you knock on the door? I suppose the safest would be the middle one, but it's probably going to be wrong. And it is, the officer died. They caught the offender, but one officer was killed.
311A complete.
And that's how quickly the game can go bad. Those 2 officers finished their call without circumstance, their skills went up, and basically that's the gameplay. So as this goes on, I'll throw in like the occasional comment on things that might not be obvious. Like that call failed and no one was injured, but because they failed, their officer skill went down, which basically is their value to that shift and their ability to work. So at the end of the first day and someone's dead. I'm so good at being the boss. So if you think you're going to have not enough people working the next shift, you can ask a high energy staff member to work the next day. So let's say to this gentleman, I want you to work tomorrow, because let's face it, he's a detective, he doesn't do beat work.
Used to be when I asked Kendrick to stay late at the office, He liked to grumble and crack wise. Nowadays, he doesn't have the strength for it. Slumped shoulders, blank stare, wrinkled skin. The past few weeks, I don't hardly recognize my old friend. In his younger years, he reminded me of a gallant royal officer in an old Kipling story. Kendrick isn't just crumbling under the weight of the public pressure, but from the shame of it all. Internal Affairs raided the library he inherited from his grandfather, hoping they'd find buckets of cash stashed in the pages. Heard about the look on his face, the fearless policeman standing helpless in horror. I've known Francis for 30 years. The past 20 years he's played loose with the law. And I know that at a certain point, every stolen dollar brings more misery than anything else. Probably sounds crazy, but I sympathize with the guy. What can I do? Your friends are your friends, and these are the waters we swim in.
Called all of the people on that list today. Now they know you're in business, so you could get a call from any of them. You don't need to worry about any of them.
Basically, this is his friend saying, this is my mob list, they're going to be calling you for favours.
Just like you asked. Should be just a few small favors. Payments will vary depending on the situation and who you're dealing with.
I would say favours get you killed, but I played the first day down the line and people got killed
because everybody
anyway.
wants to take $1 million. Figured I'd try something different.
$500,000 in 180 days? Well, you could earn it all above board if you netted all
So
the big
there you
fish
go,
and
that
all the
180 days
Never
is
knew you for a
important,
fisherman.
because if
Well,
you
you
manage
never
to
got into my
survive
business, and I'm not
the
trying to give it to
180
you.
days,
But be
that is
careful
actually
bringing
your
in any of the
playthrough and
cops.
you've survived
Sooner
till
or later,
retirement,
they'll put the finger on you.
but
And-
I'm
and
sure
one
there'll
more
be
thing,
a
Jack.
twist somewhere.
I remember what you said, but
Especially if
I
you've had
should
to have
probably
played This
add
Is
one
the
more
Police
name to that
2.
list. Christopher Sand.
If people
Sand.
enjoy the relaxed energy of this, I actually do have This Is the Police
Christopher
2,
G. Sand.
and that may be
Everyone
played
knows
in
the
the
name,
future.
but few could tell you who he is. The old man
Leave a
stays away
comment
from the
either when you
spotlight.
jump in, or
Always wears
maybe if you
old-fashioned
watch
jeans
the
and knitted sweaters.
this
Gives to
stream
charity.
as a
Rarely
video
attends social
later.
events. An avid hunter, I hear. Even dabbles in poetry. You'd never guess he's the head of the oldest and most powerful gang in the city. Goes back as far as his great-grandfather. And Sand is strict about following the old rules. He rarely involves himself in commonplace murders and robberies. Hardly needs to intimidate anyone to get his point across. The people who work for him each have their sphere. They provide protection where needed, even work with the authorities when they want to make a deal. Meanwhile, Sand pulls the strings without getting his hands dirty. People
So there
sometimes
you
mistake
go,
his
this
quiet
is
approach.
an introduction
A couple years
into
ago, an
the
arms
character
dealer
called
decided to
Sans.
expand its business
He's
without
basically
asking
the boss
permission,
of
and his whole
the,
family paid the price.
the
In 4
older
weeks, Sand killed
upcoming
31
gang
people.
in the Freeburg
Old
area.
men, women, even a few teenagers. And Sand's people made sure every paper reported it. Frank, I don't want to hear you say that name again.
Jack, please listen to me. I'm in with these guys.
We agreed, Frank. That's not the kind of business I'm into. I don't go there. Never have, never will.
So again, that was his friend basically trying to induct him into the mafia pocket, if you will. These are small headlines that sometimes lean into your day's work. Look, as you can see there, Francis Kendrick announced his retirement date. Francis Kendrick is the friend we just spoke to, of course. So away we go for day 2. Let's see if we can keep everyone alive. As usual, I'll quickly read this. It says, when an officer is too tired to be effective, he will ask for a day off or she, they are female officers, sometimes will request days off even when they're at full strength. Some of the reasons will be far-fetched while some are serious. Basically, it says don't overindulge them or don't pee them off. Basically, pick and choose when to believe them, because you want officers to be relatively happy to work for you in general. So here we go, this is an old lady, she's basically kind of useless. Today my daughter is opening an art exhibition, can she have the day off? Usually I'd say no, but she's old and useless, so I'll say yes. This is a brief thing about promotions. The weekly performance ratings are the points under the name. If people perform well, I can choose to promote them, which usually gives them a confidence boost. Let's see, if you think no one is worthy of the honour, you can keep them until later. It wasn't supposed to give it to him. I suppose that's automatic because I wouldn't have gave it to him. This guy, yeah, how can I? Oh, there we go, square. He can have one, and that guy can as well. So as you can see, they do get a stat buff briefly, and they keep it for the rest of the playthrough, assuming they don't die. This is just about music in general. I just leave that as it is because I'm not sure of the copyright issue. So this is how you fire cops. You tap the middle, you go to the police station. You can go to the labour market with the R1, that's what he's instructing me to do. These are job openings, I've got 2 open slots. So I'm gonna go with, this is shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got 7 there, so this guy can work shift 8. And the next, will it let me pick the next guy? Not at the moment, I don't think. I know I have to fire somebody. Oh no, they're gonna make me fire that guy because he's old. Okay, well this is part of the tutorial. So you press fire, and as you can see it says if you have legal grounds to terminate them, no one will ask questions, but if you fire them unlawfully, it can bring you up in court and you can have problems. So you'd highlight the person, and luckily you can fire them legally because it ticks the area that says too old. So he will be gone, he's disappeared. Will it let me back in the labour market? Yes it will. He is gone, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hire his replacement. Gotta be this guy. And back, he's been hired for shift A. Then we hire this guy, even out the numbers, put him on shift B. And in the future I will hire more detectives. The detectives are the characters that have, actually there's a detective space free. So they need a detective spot on shift A, so that will hopefully be the lady. There we go, so all the spots are filled and away we go. This is a vandalism. You don't really need your highest cups on this one. Let's go with the two miserable looking dudes, because if something goes wrong, this is terrible, but they're not great in the first place.
211 in progress.
You want to put your strong guys on the important calls if possible. And if you have enough bodies, you want to use every slot available to make the call more effective. And that basically is the complete gameplay. So let's see if people survive, people die, people do terribly. Like for instance, nobody died, but they didn't complete the arrest.
1210 in progress.
So they failed. It's the soon to be fired strong guy and the newly promoted guy.
211 complete.
There you go, because there were 3 relatively strong officers, they all survived and all their stats went up. And that's basically the gameplay, so it's a nice relax, just watch it for as long as you wish to, and then, you know, see, sometimes you go to the call and it turns out it's a mistake, or there's just a little bit of evidence and it doesn't go anywhere, hence false alarm. Okay, let's see, Mr. Boyd, my bouncer, stuffed himself with Mexican. Basically they need a bouncer, so I'm just gonna give him the terrible cop. Usually I wouldn't do that, but I'd rather keep the strong cops for actual important calls. Because I'm trying to play the game better this time, because in my last gameplay session I was genuinely crap. So that's the guy that you eventually may have to deal with. Christopher Sand, I believe it was called. See, they gave me money for helping them out with the free bouncer, so I got 4,500. Okay. Labour market, I've got a cop slot free. Let's see, that will be shift A. Was it shift A? Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 view there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 there, and I'll just put
Got a situation here. Eleven.
Whenever I'm alone at home and there's a knock at the door, I always hope it'll be my wife, Laura. She's always forgetting her keys.
Hello, my name is Steve, and you're Jack Boyd, is that right?
To get to my front door, the Bible boys walked about a mile from the local bus stop, jumping over mud puddles and skirting a couple of landfills. Laura doesn't go in for religion either, but according to her, these brave lunatics with their fake smiles deserve at least a minute of attention. She patiently listens to them, asks them questions, regales them with pastries, and never once dropping a hint of condescension. When I watch her do it, I've got to admit it gets me. I'd have hugged those boys, sat with them on the porch, and lit up a cigar. But a month after Laura left, all I could do was quietly ask them not to bother me. Today I'm a little rougher still. Shut the door on his nose this time. Another couple weeks at this rate, and I'll be greeting anyone who comes close with my service pistol pointed towards the sky, ready to fire my warning shots. In my life, even the basic stuff never goes like it's supposed to. Normally, when a wife is going to leave home, she'll make a scene, or at least sit everyone down for a serious conversation. But Laura just disappeared. The children in the stories always stand on the side of the mother, but all three of our sons supported me. The in-laws always blame the husband for making their daughter unhappy. But now Sally, Laura's mother, well, we sort of have a pact. The fellow Laura ran off with is young enough to be her son. I hear he's 30 years old. Of all the possible information a man can know about his wife's lover, I get hit with that. Fortunately, Laura's mother doesn't like the way it sounds either. Sally figures this guy just thought he'd have some fun with a mature woman, but he'll be back chasing college girls before the year is out. So we have an agreement. Sally's going to track down Laura and try to reason with her, and we'll arrange a meeting. Meanwhile, I'm supposed to not do anything stupid, which of course means anything at all. It's a crazy situation. I'm the police chief, and the person I'm trusting to find my wife is an old woman armed with a phone book. But I can't afford to lose Sally as an ally. So for the moment, I had to swallow my pride.
Hello.
Mrs. Markham, this is Boyd.
Oh, is there any news?
That's what I wanted to ask you. Have you found anything? An address, phone number? Have you spoken to her?
Don't worry, Jack. I've narrowed the range to 2 suspects, or whatever you like to say at your police building.
At my police building, we find people faster than a funny old woman chirping on the phone with my wife's girlfriends.
Oh, you're an old man, Jack. Come to your senses. They'd give us straight odds on the street. But I've got more energy, Jack. Maybe you think I'm a foolish old woman, but I go to my book club, argue with the girls about Byron, and it gives me energy. I talk to my dogs, and it gives me energy. And you have nothing, Jack. You don't even have a hobby. You got no passion. It's why Laura left you.
Let's not go back into that, Sally. Find my wife, and we can discuss my hobbies later. I'm waiting for your call, and my patience is running thin. Laura, if you've stopped loving me, I'll let you go. I can't expect the impossible from you. Just don't let me die out here, okay?
113B in progress. Two 12 complete. Twelve 10 in progress. We've got a situation here. 113B complete. Twelve 10 complete. A in progress. A in progress. A complete. Looks like we have a situation here. 311A